How's it going, guys? Deadmano here, and no, this is not another one of those Sky Shards overview videos. Today we are looking at a new mod that's just been released called Skyrim XP Addon. I know that I've left the description in quite the disarray, and some of you are possibly left scratching your heads thinking, what is this mod, what does it do, and will it be of any benefit to me? So hopefully I'm able to answer one or more of those questions today. So without further ado, let's get into what is Skyrim XP Addon. Basically, what the mod is a simple process in which you can gain experience for doing various activities such as finding new locations, reading new books, discovering new standing stones, and so on and so forth. Currently, in the current state of the mod, you can only do 4 such activities, which is new standing stones discovered, new locations discovered, Nern routes picked, and books read. I obviously plan to add way more activities in the following update. This was just basically a way for me to ensure the mod is out, the core functionality is there, you can earn XP, the calculations are right, you can spend them, and so on and so forth. So let me try and go into depth on what you can do and how it works. So first off, when you do a certain action, like I said in the game, you'll be rewarded a certain amount of XP. For example, finding new locations. I'll go and set off the locations discovered, and you'll see we just discovered a new location. At the top left, you'll see we earned a random amount of XP. Let us go further. Whoops. Let us go further and pick a Nern route, as I've done this hundreds of times by now. I think I've memorized partly half of Whiterun's Nern route locations. So we will pick this Nern route, and you'll notice we'll get a random amount of XP. At this point it's 157. If we go pick another Nern route, we will gain 116. So as you can see, it's in the variance based on whatever the current min-max XP is, which you can obviously modify yourself to tune it to your own custom, gaming preference. You may be using other mods that make it harder to level up or make it easier to level up, and basically if you just want to fine-tune that, this is where you would go. You would go to your inventory, you would go to your book section, and you'll see a Skyrim XP Addon configurator. Just click on that once, you'll get this menu. There will be an MCM menu coming soon, as soon as I've released all the updates that I do want to do. It's not on my major priority list because this works just as well. Obviously there are quite a few features that I'd like from the MCM menu, but that will have to wait until I flesh out the mod. So for example, XP settings is where you would set the minimum and maximum XP, which is the core part of the core in the calculations of how XP is distributed. Currently it's set to a default minimum of 250 and a maximum of 1000. So for example, if you wanted more XP, you'd obviously set these values higher. So you remember we got about 100 and between 110 and 117 for the Nern route. Now if I had to go and change the minimum to 750, meaning I'll get no less than 750, based obviously on the multiplier, of course. So let's set it rather to 500, and we will set the maximum to 4000, right? But this is now also all affected on 1, your level, because it's an exponential calculation taking into account your level, and 2, the multiplier. So for example, we had it at 500 and 4000, right? The multiplier for Nern route is currently at 0.8, I think, or was it 0.4? I can't remember off the top of my head. These multipliers, obviously, you can configure based on your needs. Let's say we wanted it exactly 2, so 2 times the amount. That means we will get a minimum of 2 times 500, which is 1000, and 2 times 4000, which is 8000. That gives us a minimum of 1000 to 8000. So anywhere between 1000 and 8000 is how much XP we will get for the Nern routes. So let us go find another Nern route now, and let's see how much XP we gain from that Nern route. So you notice now we got 3673 experience. Sorry, that is a major difference between 117. So already there we've customized that, and that is purely for known routes. If I go and discover a location, it will still be around the defaults, which is 100 to 300 and something, up to 1,000. Oh, of course, we changed the minimum and the maximum. The multipliers obviously would affect that further. So you notice we got about 3,600. We can get anywhere between 1,000 and 8,000, and that is based purely on your player level. If I had to now set my player level to 10, for example, I would get even more experience. So from 3,000 to 8,000, we will now get 15,000, which is already quite the improvement, as you can see. So we shall now go get another known route over here and just get rid of being attacked by these annoying creatures, and we got about 6,000 this time. So as you can see, that's how it's affected, not just on the multipliers but also onto the levels. So that is something you need to take into account, because obviously at higher levels you're already getting significantly more experience points. Which brings me to the other issue at hand. Quite a few of you, I know there's at least one person in the comments description of the mod who's mentioned you know, they're getting millions of XP at the moment. And one thing that was an oversight on my part is the fact that the moment the mod is loaded, it will calculate all the currently tracked stats that you have done that it can track. So let's say you've discovered 300 locations, right? It is going to assign those 300 locations at your current level. So normally, organically, how the mod would roll out is you start at level 1, you get about 100 to 300 XP for discovering a location. You slowly level up, you spend those points. Generally, by the time people hit around level 50, you've maxed out at least 1 or 2 skills, yeah? So the issue comes in now, if you're level 50 and you start this mod up, you're going to get experience relative to your level. So let's check that out. At the base, without configuring the mod, right? We're going to set everything back to how it was, the minimum of 250 and the maximum of 1,000, right? Then we're going to set our level to level 50, okay? Now let's see how much XP we gain for discovering locations. So we got about 20,000 XP over there. We got about, let's see if I can get to this one. We got 11,000 there. So imagine now between 20 and 11,000, right? Let's say there's an average of 15,000. At just 10 location, that's 150,000 XP. So you're already hitting over 1.5 million if you've discovered 100 locations. And we can assume that about level 50, you've discovered easily over 100 locations, considering, you know, the amount of locations that the base Skyrim has. And this is without even including other mods that include, you know, even more map markers on the map for you to discover. So that was an oversight on my part, and I'm going to be releasing a patch to address that, to help you balance your game out. But generally speaking, if you had to discover 300 locations from level 1 to level 50, the experience would be balanced, you know, because it's an exponential calculation. That all being said, sorry, I know this is getting a bit too technical. I'm going to try to stick with how you operate the mod. Tracking options, some of you may wonder what exactly this is. And how the mod currently operates is it has a register for single update call, which monitors for the tracked stats, right? So for example, it could be your books read or your locations discovered, and the moment it notices that there's a variance between what the saved stat value is and the actual stat value, it runs the update. If nothing happens, it literally does nothing, so the performance impact is next to none. If anyone else has any other claims to that, then obviously please feel free to share that with me, and then I'll go through that with you. But the performance impact should be next to none. if any of you are wondering. I did have the passive tracking at one point in the early release of the mods, but I haven't enabled that due to the fact that the way it works, unfortunately some events do not trigger. For example, even though you can register for tracked stats, it doesn't pick up things like books read or known route found and stuff like that. So that wouldn't reliably work. But essentially I did have at one point, when something gets added to your inventory, in this case a known route, it could then trigger all the other stats that are tracked. But that would mean it would be a latent call. So you could like discover 10 locations here, you could discover 3 chests there, you could do this, this, and this, then you pick up one known route, and then it updates everything. So it's not real time. For those of you that still want that option for whatever reason, obviously it's going to be making a return. Then the other option I plan to have is where you can specify how often the polling rate will be, if for whatever reason you need to adjust that to your own uses. So that's pretty straightforward. The XP settings, we've gone through the min-max. The multipliers I've gone through as well. There will be obviously more based on all the other activities that you can do. I'm going to find the easiest way to display this, and obviously when the MCM update comes out, so that will be an SKSC hard requirement, you will have a much easier menu to follow. But for now, you just go through there, you set whatever the multiplier is. So quick rundown on that again. Min-max is the overall calculation. What is the minimum XP that we're going to get? What is the maximum that we're going to get? Then from there, your multiplier affects that. So let's say for locations discovered, you only wanted the default is 1.2, but let's say you wanted 2. So that means it will multiply whatever the XP, the random XP value is, by 2. If you had to go by 10, obviously that's 10 times. So that's how the multiplier works, where 0.4 is only 40% of the value. So an example is, let's say you had it at 100 XP. If you set this at 0.4, you're only going to get 40 XP, if that makes sense. So you're getting less. So things like books read and known routes found are 0.4 and 0.8 respectively. Yeah, and then aside from that, spending XP, for now, I have only set 4 skills. I completely forgot when I was releasing the mod. This is obviously very easy to change, so I'm going to be releasing this with the next update as well. And what this would be is a place for you to spend experience on the points, spend experience on the skills that you wish to level up. And it's a very straightforward approach. Let's say you wanted to level up your conjuration, right? This shows you how much experience points you have, and here you have an option of how much XP into that specific skill you wish to invest. Obviously at lower levels, spending greater amount of XPs will quickly level that skill up, but as you go through the levels it gets significantly harder based on obviously vanilla Skyrim's leveling system. So for now the options I know are lessen, stellar, 100, 500,000, 5,000, but I'm going to work on that as well. But let's say for example I want to spend 5,000 XP. I'll do that. You'll see my experience points got less. I spent 5,000 XP on my conjuration skill, and I managed to level up my conjuration skill to it's obviously updating right now, so 34. Right, so let's say I want to level up some more. I will go back. You don't have to keep going back into the thing, you can just keep staying there and spending. So I can just go like conjuration 5,000, conjuration 5,000. I can obviously add an option if you want to stay in this menu. I will obviously add percentages, spend 25% of all experience points, or even all, like spend all experience points on this. So yeah, you just go in there, keep spending experience, and you'll notice now our conjuration is at 63. Now some of you may be thinking, oh, but that's quite a bit, it's not going to level. But you need to keep in mind that, you know, currently our level now is level 51. So some of you may know, playing throughout the game, that that may take quite some time to get to. And obviously that's why you have the whole leveling aspect there that you can set for yourself. So yeah, hopefully I've gone through the basic use of the mod, I guess. I've gone through what the options do. The other skills will be added here. There will be more options for you. You guys just need to let me know and give me feedback based on the configuring, if you're confused, if something doesn't make sense. And obviously the different stats that will be tracked will be updated. So I'll be, releasing that in the next update as well. So hopefully I didn't make this too confusing and it makes sense. If it doesn't, please feel free to let me know and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.